It appears that Nayef Aguerd has changed agents in an effort to secure his exit from West Ham. This is news that sort of broke yesterday, and I think it won't come as a surprise for a lot of people, Gio, because when we were doing our build-up show, people were saying when Aguerd's not in the team and things like that, people are saying, I think it's safe to assume that Aguerd is leaving in the summer. Well, it appears he is.
It's a difficult one for me actually because I'm trying not to do this, but it's hard not to do this. I think a lot of us, including yourself, are guilty, which is, well, what does this mean for David Moyes' future? So if Nayef Aguerd's decided I'm off, well, would he, if he knew, and there's some rumours out there that the players know Moyes is off, etc., etc. Well, if Aguerd knew Moyes was off, why would he be looking to get out of the club immediately? So it makes me think that he must believe that Moyes is here to stay. Maybe I'm putting two and two together, but this is my subconscious thinking with every rumour now. When we get linked to a player or something's happening, whether it be Ben Johnson, Nayef Aguerd, Divine Mubama, Flynn Down, just like, hey, there's too many things indicating that David Moyes is staying beyond the summer. In regards to Aguerd itself, not really surprised. I think it's been a little bit of since he's arrived, really. He had a big injury. He's been in and out of the team, or when he's been in it, he's not been in top form. And then it sort of came to a head, didn't it, with the African Cup of Nations when it was leaked from the club that he's perhaps prioritised playing for Morocco over West Ham and that the club weren't happy that he's not playing for us when he could have played for us. And that's obviously a very ugly situation. I think it's one that could be redeemed, but that type of thing, those types of stories getting leaked from the club, if it's true, that doesn't help anyone, and it doesn't make a girl feel very wanted, does it? Because it can turn the fan base against the player, stuff like that coming out, that player has chosen his country over your football club, because we've got no affiliation. A few of us might do, but we've got no affiliation to Morocco. So it's hard to sort of want Aguerd to do well or prioritise his country over his club because we're emotionally attached to West Ham. So it's turned out to be a really ugly situation for all involved, actually. And one, not surprised per se, but it's got me thinking about the bigger picture.
Well, yeah, I mean, it does. I'm exactly the same as you. You hear that Flynn Downs is definitely not coming back. You think, oh, Moyes is staying, and this is another one, really. That being said, I'm not entirely sure that it was just David Moyes. I think it's easy. You know, this one is that it's easy to hit David Moyes with every single stick. Yes, there was a rumour that he's had a little bit of a fallout with Moyes, but I was led to believe that it was more to do with that African Cup of Nations stuff. I mean, personally, look, we'll get to the football bit in a bit. I think he's unsuited to David Moyes' style anyway. I think that there's a good centre-back in there, but not when he's asked to defend for 70% of the game or whatever. I think, you know, what it was this is possibly as much of a problem with the club as it was with David Moyes. I think the club approached at the start of the season, it was Ivory Coast, it was Algeria, it was Morocco, it was Ghana. At the start of the season, the club approached everybody and said, look, can we have our players for a bit longer, please, just to try and get an extra couple of games out of them before the African Cup of Nations? It was pretty much Aguerd who said, I don't want you to do that. So I know, for instance, with Ghana at the time, Chris Hughton was the manager. We approached, Kudus was happy to stay and play for an additional game. Chris Hughton said, no, I need my players here. And I think it was very much Aguerd who said, no, I don't want to do this. I want to get out there. I want to have a full pre-tournament training camp, if you want. And so it was, did he down tools? No, I don't think he did. And I think there was a suggestion after that happened, stories were getting leaked that maybe he wasn't training at full intensity, but you're never going to know that. You just don't know. And I do think the club are definitely guilty of leaking things that suit their narrative to make someone else look bad. They're absolutely capable of doing that. So I don't know. I mean, the only thing I can really go off with Aguerd in terms of he doesn't seem that type of personality. Every time I've heard him interviewed, he seems like a nice, friendly sort of guy. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure. Has he prioritized? I also do understand. I think when you buy a player that plays for an African nation, you got to take this into account, and for that reason, I would I would always carry, a maximum of 3 in my squad, I have to say, because you just know that every other year they're going to disappear for a vital part in the season, which is always has so much fixture congestion in it that they've had to incorporate a winter break and stuff like that. So, look, we knew that when we signed Aguerd, when we signed Kudus, even when we signed Cornet, Ben Rama, you have to assume that they're going to go. So I don't overly blame him, actually.
No, I've got a lot of sympathy for Aguerd, to be fair. If he's got a week to go till the African Cup of Nations, if he's heads on the African Cup of Nations, it's a huge occasion. It's massive. Yeah. Why would you not want to go play for it? That's like saying that's the equivalent of the last game of the season meaning something to West Ham. Not a dead rubber, everyone's on the beach, but where European football still up for grabs last game of the season, but literally the following week, the European champions start. It's the difference between the Premier League and the European Championships. There's a gap. There's a month between the Premier League finishing and the Euro starting. So there's plenty of time for recovery. There isn't that. They leave West Ham. They go to join up with the training camp. They've got about a week, and then it kicks off their first game of the tournaments there. So I've got a lot of sympathy for Aguerd if he has prioritised the African Cup of Nations over playing whoever it was. We played Brighton on the 2nd of January. I'd imagine that's the game in question. Was it the Arsenal one maybe just before the New Year, that one he missed too? But I understand if Aguerd, bear in mind, even through the club's leaks, they said he was sick, but it was felt that he could have played anyway. Well, hang on a minute. So you've admitted he's not 100%, but you still want him to continue playing. I get why if Aguerd or Kudus or anyone says, no, thank you, I'm going to... And when it says he's down tools, well, actually, I think asking not to play is the opposite of downing tools. I think that's basically saying, I'm not in the right frame of mind to play this game. Can you play someone else, please? Actually, the worst thing would have been he did play, and he only gave 65% of the effort because he didn't want to get injured or something. Sorry, you just cut out there.
I was just saying nobody wants to see a 65% Aguerd. It's
I think we've seen
mistakes when he's 100%.
I think we've seen a 65% Aguerd when he's fully fit, kind of thing. But in terms of the player leaving, I mean, to be fair, the club. This is where I think sometimes the club have to hold their hands up a little bit. We almost put him on the transfer list without putting him on the transfer list. Aguerd. It was very obvious in January that Saïd Benrahma, Pablo Fornals, and Nayef Aguerd, they're there if someone wants some. If you want to spend the money, we're willing to sell these 3 players. 2 of them left, 1 of them didn't. That was Aguerd. And I think it's possibly suits all parties, quite frankly.
I think the only reason he didn't get sold in January was the African Cup of Nations. I think if you have to assume if he's, I mean, see, this is the thing. You have to accept that people are proud to play for their countries. And why should Aguerd be less proud than an Englishman or a Scotsman? Why should he be less proud to play for Morocco? And I think you have to say if he wants to be fully committed to that tournament and to his country to the extent that he does not want to play in the games that precede it, and he wants to play a full part in a training camp, logic naturally dictates that he's not going to want to leave that training camp to go and do a medical or to do. He's telling us his full focus wants to be on the African Cup of Nations. So even for him, even if a club did want him, he's going to say, no, I'm not going to go and do that. I don't want to be distracted. He's not. It's quite a stretch to say he's going to be sort of two-faced about it. No, I think he's saying that. So I think that's possibly the only reason he didn't leave. There's clearly going to be people that are interested in him because he's a good player. He is a good player. Not for West Ham style. Not for... We missed Craig Dawson for a really, really good reason. He really suited what we did. Nayef Aguerd is a skillful player. He is. He's a skillful player. There's a reason why he looks comfortable when he moves up into midfield. When he played a few minutes on the left back last month, he looked capable doing it. He's got a really good long range of passing. It feels, I don't want to compare him to let's do the car thing. He got compared to a Rolls Royce. Let's not call him a Rolls Royce, but it does seem like we've got a sports car and we're using him to do the tip run. Do you know what I mean? We're just not using him for what he can do. So I do think there will be other clubs that would probably look at him and think, well, you know what? If we're going to have 60, 70% possession in a game, he's not going to see much action. We can play a high line, and he'll probably really suit it. So, I think not only would we have sold him, not only do I think there are clubs interested in him, I think there are probably a few of them that have made their interest known to him and probably his new agent, which is why we're seeing what we're seeing now.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think we've taken advantage of his strongest assets as a centre back, and I think we've almost exposed his weaknesses a little bit. And that's on everybody involved. That's on Aguerd as well, that he just doesn't suit the way we play. But this is where it goes back to what we just spoke about at the very start of the video, which is, well, if we were hypothetically going to be bringing in a more progressive manager in the summer, and this is been planned, and the club know they know the style we want to play going forward, and it is a much more attacking style, one that would favour Nayef Aguerd, and it probably expose Kurt Zouma, then why would the club? Now, obviously, this doesn't mean the club have sanctioned Aguerd's move away. It's the player looking to get out the club, but the club were actively looking to sell him in the January transfer window.
Sure.
So why would we be looking to move Aguerd on if we're changing style? Why would Aguerd be looking to move if he knows that West Ham have a change of manager coming up? It's just, I think it's another bit of evidence. It's a small one. It's another indicator that actually David Moyes is here to stay, or at best, the player doesn't know, and he's not wanting to stick around to find out. And I think that's possibly the truth. I think the player probably doesn't know, because I think if all the players knew what was happening, it would have got leaked somewhere by now.
Yes. I don't think they're briefing the players at all.
I think
possibly number three, third option, they don't know. The club don't know who they're getting as the next manager. More worryingly,
I think that's the truth. Yeah. I think option three, which is, I think they don't know if Moyes is here or not next season themselves. I don't think they know. I don't think they've decided yet. I think. I mean, this is a slightly different topic, and we'll cover it in international break, which is, what do we think the chances are of Moyes getting a new deal is? But at the minute, I don't think the club have made their mind up. I think they're in two minds about it. And there's one or two managers that have been linked to us, have either signed a new contract at their own club, etc., etc. So, and that's just been linked to us through the press. It doesn't mean we're actually interested in them, but I don't know. I think this is just another small piece. But when there's only one small bit of evidence suggesting that Moyes is going to be here beyond the summer, I think it's easy to ignore. Yes. But I think when actually you can find quite a few small pieces, and we've just rattled a few off there with Ben Johnson, Flynn Downs, and now Nayef Aguerd in particular, it sort of comes together to me. Hang on a minute, what's going on here then? Because the word project keeps getting banded around. I've seen no evidence of a project. No. And I see no evidence of a project coming up either. I see nothing. I see the word project means nothing to me at West Ham United. There isn't one as far as I'm concerned. Are we going to implement one? Again, I've seen no evidence yet. I would like to see there's some sort of idea for the future, and that the club has a culture and a way of playing, a philosophy is probably the right word, a philosophy at the club. I see no evidence of it. And this is almost just another piece of evidence to me that the future at West Ham, which includes David Moyes and a lot of the first team players, is uncertain. And I think the future is uncertain because the board are uncertain. And I don't think Aguerd will be the only player that will think, if that's going to be the manager next season, I'm going to leave. But that's normal. That happens at every football club, every club. And whenever we do interviews with ex-players and we say, who's your favourite manager, etc., they always say, yeah, but even though I got on with him, there's people that didn't. And then I hated that manager, but there's loads of people that got on with him. It just depends on which, how you getting played, etc., etc. So there you go. Nayef Aguerd looking to leave, switching agent. I always find it funny they have to switch agent to get a move. Does that mean your previous one was just crap or refused to get your move? Was you saying, nah, nobody wants you. I can't find you a new club. I can't find one for you. You're going to have to stay at West Ham.
Yeah. Maybe it's a statement of intent. Maybe that's it. Maybe the new agent is not currently on your payroll, so he's not earned any commission yet. Maybe the new agent is just more motivated to go and earn his £1 million or whatever it might be. That might be a conservative amount, but yeah.
I just find it funny that they have to switch agent to get a transfer. It's like, what was wrong with the previous guy that got you to West Ham? Clearly he's capable of getting you a move. So it was just. But anyway, anything else you'd like to add regarding?
No, mate. Just a bit of a shame, but yeah, look, it's the modern way of football. And to be fair, he's probably stayed here for just got to get used to it. There will be a number of players coming to clubs now, particularly at West Ham, who stay here for a season or 2 seasons. I think it's just the way of the world.
Yeah, I think he was worth a punt. He's clearly a good player. Moyes wanted him for a large period of time, but I do think the injury at Ibrox meant that his career at West Ham never really got up and running like it was supposed to. It was just an unfortunate injury, and I think the consequences, I think arguably they were still suffering from that consequences today, which is he never had a run in the team for a large period. Then when he did get in the team, we were in a relegation battle. Then he gets in the team, stays in the team, and then African Cup of Nations come along. So it's been a bit of an interrupted tenure for him at West Ham, and I don't think that helps anybody involved. But the good thing is he should still be worth a decent bit of money, 20 million upwards. So that's a large transfer fee for the club to pick up in the summer and look to reinvest it. And, you know, we've been linked to left centre-backs for a considerable period of time now, with Max Kilman the main one probably. So anyway, there you go. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below regarding Nayef Aguerd looking to get out of West Ham according to reports as he's switched agent. If you've enjoyed this video, please do drop a like on it by clicking thumbs up. Subscribe to Chat, myself and Gonzo. Catch you in a bit.